Okay, so we are starting day one with creating our beautiful quilt square. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna talk about a couple of things first. So I decided we're just right out of the gate gonna learn a little bit about some concepts that we are going to be using throughout the school year. Okay, so you're gonna hear me talk about these things. So in a minute, you are gonna get your square that you're gonna do your artwork on, and you are gonna get a pencil, okay? A lot of times when you come into art, you're not gonna just draw something. Sometimes I'm gonna have you draw something, but sometimes I'm gonna actually have you trace something. And this is a tracer. It's like a little bit more thick than the paper that we're gonna be using. So the tracer is not for us to bend or to tear or to cut. It's literally for us to use as a border for our pencil to follow around. So you may never have traced something before, so I'm gonna kind of show you how to do that. So what we're gonna do is, in order to trace around the tracer, I'm gonna actually put it in the middle of my square. So if I notice I have equal area all the way around my tracer, that tells me it's in the middle. That creates balance when we put something in the middle. Then I'm gonna take, my pencil is in my writing hand. My other hand, I'm gonna actually use my finger. I'm gonna hold the tracer down so it doesn't move, okay? Sometimes you might wanna use more than one finger, but sometimes your hands get in the way, so you just have to be a little careful and kind of figure out how to do that. Then I'm gonna take my pencil and I'm gonna put my pencil right up against the edge of the tracer, and sometimes it's gonna wiggle into the tracer and you're gonna accidentally draw on the tracer, and that's okay. But then notice here my finger's in the way, so I have to kind of change how I'm sitting or standing or holding my pencil. My tracer never moved the whole entire time because I'm actually holding it down. I'm using my muscles to hold it down. Once I go all the way around it, I'm gonna move it out of the way, and there I have my heart, okay? So we're gonna actually do this part together. I'm gonna pause the video and we're gonna do this part together, and then we're gonna start with the rest of it. Okay, so now the rest of it. What we're gonna do now is we're not gonna write anything on it yet. I'm gonna actually add some lines that start at my heart and touch the edge of my square. So this is kind of a test to see if you know how to follow directions. I'm not gonna draw lines inside my heart. I'm gonna actually start them on the edge of the heart that I just traced and have them come to the edge of my square. So I'm gonna start right at the middle, and I'm gonna make a line up to the top. Then I'm gonna come to the bottom. I'm gonna make a line to the bottom, okay? Then I'm gonna come to the middle of the side of the heart. I'm gonna make a line that starts right on the edge and comes to the edge of the square. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. So it's almost kind of like there's a line that goes behind the heart. Can you see that? A line that goes behind the heart. So it's almost like the heart is sitting on top of a pattern, okay? But there's no lines inside the heart, right? So now I'm gonna come in between these two lines, and I'm gonna make a line that starts at the heart and comes up to the corner. Starts right here in the middle of these two lines and comes to the corner. Here between these two lines and comes to the corner. And then look at these two lines. I'm gonna find the middle and go to the corner. See how my line just moved there? Okay, so if that happens and I don't like it, I can erase it if I want to, or I can leave it there too. Sometimes we make mistakes. It's okay, not a big deal. Now, I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna pause this right here, and then we're gonna come back to it. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm gonna go ahead and turn over my square. I'm gonna write my name on the back of my square, and then I'm gonna write my code. So my code is gonna be kindergarten, first grade, and whatever my color is, I will tell you what your code is, and we'll do that part together, okay? Then I'm gonna flip it back over. Now, this part is a little bit tricky, okay? So this part, I'm actually gonna get a Sharpie. So I'm gonna call your table color. I'm gonna test to see that you know your table color. You're gonna get a Sharpie, okay? But before I call your table color, we're gonna talk a little bit about Sharpie. So Sharpie is a permanent marker, which means permanent means it does not come out. So when I'm using a Sharpie, which you will be using it all the time in here, we use them all the time. And we're big kids, so we can do that. But we have to use them the right way. We have to be responsible. That's one of our rules, right? So when I use a Sharpie or a marker in general, I'm going to take the lid off and I'm going to put it on the bottom of the Sharpie. That way I always know where my lid is, okay? Now a Sharpie, we don't want to color on anything but the paper. Sometimes we accidentally get a little on the table, and just let me know if that happens. But we definitely don't want to do it on purpose. That would be bad. So what I'm going to do with my Sharpie is I'm basically going to make my pencil marks disappear, okay? I'm going to get a little closer here. So I'm going to just follow. So it's like I'm trying to cover up the pencil marks that I made a little while ago by putting Sharpie right on top of it. So I did a really good job with that. Then I'm going to continue until when I look at my square, I don't see any of my pencil marks. Now, what if I accidentally miss? Like that's a perfect example right there. I missed my pencil line. Well, we didn't put our pencils away because we might need our erasers. We might need to actually erase our pencil marks when we're done, okay? Looks pretty good. Now, while I have my Sharpie in my hand, we may need to pause this, but if we pause it, that's okay. We can restart it. While I have my Sharpie in my hand, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to write my name right inside the heart with my Sharpie, okay? So my name is Taylor, so I'm going to write my name. Don't write my name. Your name is not Taylor, probably, so you want to write your own name. And then once you're done with that Sharpie, you're going to put the lid back on it, and you're going to bring it back up to the front where you got it. Okay, so now we're going to move on. So now what we're going to do is we are going to add color to our square. So in a minute, I'm going to bring you the colors to your table, okay? In your art holders or your little containers at your table, you're going to see I sit at the blue table, so these are all different values of blue. If you're at the red table, you're going to get different values of yellow. If you're going to, or red, sorry. If you're at the orange table, blue, green table, you're going to get different values of that color. Now, these are the two things that this is a challenge, okay? Your challenge today is you want to use every single blue in your container, but you don't want to use like a marker and just color the whole thing, right? One marker, you're going to keep them in the different areas and you're going to move those different colors around. The other thing that your challenge is you can only use the colors at your table, which means if your neighbor has green at the table next to you, you cannot move to another table. You can only use the ones at your table. So for example, I am at the blue table. And this is how I color. I like to put a fence around the inside of the shape that I'm coloring. And then I'm going to put the lid on because I finished that color and I'm going to get a different color. So I'm going to move the colors around, and each time I'm getting a new color, I am going to go ahead and I'm going to grab a different blue in my bucket, okay? That might mean I'm using a colored pencil. Do you see how I'm always putting a fence inside the shape? That might mean that I have a crayon. That might mean I have a marker, an art stick. We do have these little things called art sticks, and we'll explain those later throughout the year. But I don't ever want to grab the same thing, okay? So when I'm done with my quilt square, I should have every single different red, orange, yellow, green, or blue that are at my table on my paper, okay? And of course, I don't want to scribble scrabble all over. Oh my gosh, that would be terrible. That would not look very good. Now, my name is right in the middle. So when I color my name, I don't really want to press very hard or pick a really super, super duper dark color because that's just going to cover it up, right? But if you accidentally do that, that's okay too. So we're going to stay inside the lines. We're coloring. We're adding every single different value that we can. When our colors are in the middle of the table, we are sharing with our neighbors. When you are done, I'm going to show you where you're going to turn your square in, and then I will tell you what you're going to do when you're finished.